All right, welcome everybody to this Tuesday afternoon call. I cannot believe that it's August 22nd. Like my kids are going back to school on Monday, and I'm not gonna lie, I've had an incredible summer, but I'm ready for them to be back at school. I feel like I'm just far more productive when I'm not bouncing between getting everybody to all their activities and helping with all their friends here. So I get what it's like for you moms that are at home trying to build a business. Like I totally get it. So just a couple of quick announcements on the National Wake Up Call. If you didn't listen to that National Wake Up Call, it was probably one of my very favorite ones this year from Danny Detra. She just spoke pure fire and just exactly what I believe people need to hear right now that want to build this business, including myself. Like I was listening to it and I was like, yes, okay, yes, okay, yes. And I actually wrote her afterwards. And I have a text message from her right now. I'm going to partner up and work with her kind of with some accountability because she's crushed it the past 3 years, hitting elite the last 3 years, and really advanced a lot of diamonds in her team. And she's going for top coach. So I'm like, who better to align myself with someone that's going after some big things. So listen to that National Wake Up Call. Number 2, they announced on there a couple of things. There's the business. It's kind of like what used to be called the Super Saturday or Super Weekend coming up this fall in September. So check your coach breaking news and see if there's one close to you. They're going to have super trainers at some of them. So check the breaking news for that to see the events. I did put it in the team page, but really the best place to see these things is in the breaking news. There'll be a list of all the locations. So check that. They also putting out a like a partner opportunity toolkit. As you guys know, they put toolkits out all the time, challenge group guides that you can, share inside of your, use some of that content inside of your challenge groups. They have images and prompts and things that you can use, but there's a partner opportunity one going in there. And I'm actually using the slides from that partner opportunity for our coach opportunity partner opportunity that is this Thursday night at 7:00 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's the last of the announcements, is just to remember that we have the partner opportunity meeting at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday. So I'm going to be doing a team call for Stephanie and her team at 6 p.m. And I'll be coming off of that all fired up and ready to do our partner opportunity call directly after that. So that's at 7 p.m. on Thursday. So what you should be doing immediately after this call, with any of your work time that you have allotted, set aside for your business activity, is I would be inviting everyone and following up with everyone that you know to come to that partner opportunity call on Thursday with us. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce our speaker. She is in the middle of a work shift, but took some time off to close out a patient and come out into her car to be able to share with us some wisdom. So I'm super excited about that. Her name is Stephanie Noble. I've heard her name a lot. We haven't ever had really a one-on-one conversation, but I've been hearing her name the last few years. She started partnering with BODi in 2020 in January, and it was halfway through MM100. So she is now a Success Club 10 All-Star Legend for 44 months. So that means she's hit Success Club 10 consecutively for 44 months, which shows her incredible consistency. She leads a 6-star team. And Stephanie, you have to correct me if I don't have this. Does 3-star mean that's in your second business center? So she's a 6-star in her first business center, a 3-star diamond in her second business center. She's led an elite team for 2 years. And she was actually also a Beachbody Challenge finalist in 2021 and won $18,000. She lost over 100 pounds. And this is like the coolest thing. She's living one of my dreams. She was asked to be a cast member on the MM100 Super Block. So if you're doing the MM100 Super Block, you would recognize Stephanie as one of those cast members. So we're going to make this call like short and sweet today. She's got to get back to work, and we know you guys got to get back to your families and your business activities as well. So Stephanie, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you for having me. It's you guys have one of the one thing I know about Scotty is that he has like the biggest servant heart. My husband is a partner as well, and You know, he really kind of dove in about a year ago, and he has watched all of Scotty's YouTube videos. And like, whenever he does things, I'm like, I feel like he's more credit than me. Like, you have basically mentored my husband more than I have. So I think it's just so wonderful that you share so much like that. And it just speaks of your abundance and your service. So I'm sure you guys know, but what a great team to be on. And it's not like that everywhere. Though I do think BODi's like a special world, but it's one you make BODi better, Scotty. So my name is Stephanie. Like you said, I've been coaching since 2020 when I was about halfway through Morning Meltdown. I was kind of like already starting to just like my life had already changed so much just 2 months into Morning Meltdown. And I had started implementing to be mindset. And I just knew I kind of needed like the extra layer. Like I knew I needed a little bit more if I was going to keep feeling this great forever and like continue on my weight loss and do another program after that one and all of that. And so I really dove in. And to be honest, I didn't even know at the time that coaches made money. And I can say coaches because it was coaches. That's what we were called then. I thought you like volunteered your time. And I was like, man, everyone's so nice. So they're just so, you know, helpful. And immediately what I learned you could make an income, it changed the game for me because I had just left my career after having my second child. My daughter was 5 months old and my son was almost 2. And we were in a huge life transition with the least amount of money we ever had. That did not hold me back from signing up for my package. So I kind of want to share a little bit about Morning Meltdown, and not Morning Meltdown specifically, but being a cast member. Only things that are going to apply to you, though. How I think it's easy to hype it up and the road to get there, and how you can apply that in your own situation for whatever crazy vision board thing you might have. I would have never imagined I would be casting on the super block. You know, BODi wasn't even a thing. And I wrote it on day 40 in my B100 book. Every 20 days, she has you do a review. I don't even remember writing this, you guys. I can't make this up. On day 40, I wrote, I want to crush my health goals so I can be in Jericho's next program. I went back and like redid Morning Meltdown like a couple years ago or in 2021. And I saw it then and I was like, oh, that's crazy. I don't even remember writing it. And Fire and Flow was out. And I was like, well, didn't get in her next program. I just, I did put it out there and I don't even remember, but the way that it circled back was insane. But before I get into that, I want to share like 3 things. I always like to do like why does anything I say apply to you, right? Or like what's the biggest thing you could take away from this and apply it to you? Because not everyone needs to lose 100 pounds. Not everybody wants to be a cast member, but a lot of people have limiting beliefs or thoughts or actions they're not applying that can be useful if you get a little motivated by a story. So the first thing I want to share, I signed up originally for Beachbody at the time. That's what it was called. In 2018, and before my box came in the mail, my best friend passed away from a brain tumor. And so I didn't even open the box. I gained additional weight and just became more miserable for about a year and a half. And I just kind of used food to cope. And I just was in a really bad or a bad place. My heart felt so disconnected from my family. Like I wasn't going to church. Like it was just a really rough time in my life. And I wasn't proactively doing anything to make it better, to honor her, I was upset. And that whole time, though, what I want you to hear is that my coach showed up on social media every single day. And at the time, I had nothing in common with her. She didn't have a weight loss story. She didn't need to lose all the weight loss I needed to lose, but she showed up through the highs and the lows and the good and the bad and the up and the down. And she shared her goals, and she shared when she missed her goals, and she showed up and you could see the joy radiate from her a little more every day. And even though I was silent, we didn't really talk much. She knew what had happened. So she kind of just let me do my thing. If she stopped showing up, I would have never, ever circled back and I would not be here. And she didn't, by all means, she was expecting my cancellation every month. And if I'm being honest, it was on my to-do list every month for 14 months to cancel my coach account. Every time I got like the $17 charge, I was like, dang it, forgot to cancel it. Very grateful for that now, because I'm in a great spot in the organization. But don't discount the people who are sitting there inactive, and don't discount the power that you have to influence them, even if you think they're not watching or paying attention, just by showing up. She definitely never thought I was paying attention. She didn't, she expected my cancellation. Like, she figured we might not ever work together again, right? But I was watching her the entire time, and she was teaching me to think differently. She was teaching me to think about a different route and how that might look for me. And so when it came time and she was sharing the test group results for Morning Meltdown, I just knew I was ready. And so I ordered a completion pack. I popped up as active in her back office, and she's like, hello, what are you doing? And I was like, all ready to go on a Monday. And I didn't start on Monday. I started on Tuesday though, because on Tuesday I woke up and gosh, I'm getting like emotional. I don't know why. It felt just like one of the things she had said on her stories one day that made me order that completion pack, kind of a perfect storm of that and all the Morning Meltdown test group results, sharing people, because I could see myself in some of them, because some of them had bigger weight loss, transformations they needed. But again, I was watching her because of her mental transformation. And then one day she said, my daughter is the reason I do this. She will never be my excuse. She's never my excuse not to work my business. She's never my excuse not to show up and work out, right? And I remember just feeling like, oh my God, like a gut punch. Like, okay, I had 2 under 2, and it just felt like she was talking to me. And so I made it about my kids, right? And then when I didn't work out on Monday, talked myself out of it all day, I woke up Tuesday and I'm like, I can't even work out for my kids. Like, it just felt awful. And some of that was my mindset at the time, and some of that was just my actions. And so I just pressed play on a Tuesday. I started Morning Meltdown. That was the first day of the rest of my life. So I really, I had to throw out the perfectionism on day one, because I wasn't going to wait till Monday again. So those are the takeaways I want you guys to have from my story. From there to what I'm sharing about now was a lot of ups and downs and highs and lows, and wanting to quit, and, wanting to quit, not because of anything wrong with being a BODi partner, wanting to quit because my mindset was not well, and I hadn't worked on it enough. So when challenges came up, it felt easier to throw a fit and tell my husband, I'm just going to cancel my coach account then. And I did that several times, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I support you, right? Which was great, because I then it was me wanting instant gratification. The instant gratification of canceling my coach account, because I controlled it. So if I failed, then, it's better than trying and failing, was where my mind was. Or the instant gratification of my husband fixing it for me. My husband being like, no, do this. You should do it. It makes you happy. You've lost so much weight, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't give me that. And I had to learn how to work myself through the mindset of overwhelm, of burnout, right? Because that's all a choice. It's like burnout, overwhelm, that's mismanagement of your thoughts and your focuses. And it's human and it happens. But the biggest blessing was the tool that I've received over time of how to work through those things, instead of throw a wall up like I did when my best friend passed away. Now I honor her legacy. Like, when I think of her, it puts a fire in my belly to show up. And, the grief is inevitable, but I chose to suffer for 1.5 years. And since I stepped into this world and saw Jericho and the way that she just makes you feel like a warrior, and I started doing this, and I started seeing oh my gosh, I feel like, I had forgotten what her laugh sounded like. I remember crying one day. And then I started working out again. My mind started clearing and I could hear her laugh again. And I remember just like, oh, I don't have to be miserable the rest of my life just because I'm upset that my friend passed away. Like, I truly feel like she lifted this like cloud of me separating from her because I was choosing to suffer. And I feel like I could connect more to her once I did the things, right? Like, I can't imagine whatever you believe in, right? God, spirits, the universe wants you to sit and suffer and beat yourself up and choose suffering, because pain, obstacles are always inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And that is just like, and learning to like work through them and not looking for the instant gratification of hitting the cancel. I honestly don't even know where the cancel button is. I've never made it that far. It's all talk. I just would get upset and needed that instant like band-aid rip. But it's really taught me how to work through that. So fast forwarding all of that, right? I've lost 100 pounds, built the 2-time elite team. What was a daunting like cloud over my head my whole life of fitness and nutrition. I never had a good relationship with it. It's turned into my passion and my purpose. And I'm a life coach now. And like, if you knew me 10 years ago, you'd be like, no way, Stephanie Noble is it does all that. Because where I've always been a very nice, extroverted person, I didn't always have that relationship and confidence in myself. Not the way I look, but my ability to work through an obstacle, my ability to make a decision that serves me. And all of that came into my life from BODi. And that is such a gift we offer. And recruiting, this is what I want you to hear. Everything I just said, and I haven't shared about the morning meltdown casting, those changes in my life happened because I decided to partner halfway through morning meltdown. And I decided to partner because my coach, Danny Detra, she was on the National Wake Up Call yesterday. She got on her stories and she was crying because she missed elite for the 3rd time. And I'm an Enneagram 2. And I was like, how can I help you? This is so sad, right? She just put me into this community. I was feeling good. She's like crying on her Instagram about a missed goal. And she's like, you can go diamond. And I'm like, I have no idea what that means, but sure, I'll try. And she's like, let's hop on a call. And so after Christmas had passed, we hopped on a call, and it was essentially a getting started right call. And she kind of just was like, well, you signed 2 people up. She didn't complicate any of it. She's like, this is what you do. You sign up 3 people, you make sure 2 of them are partners, is what we would say now. And, in your first month, and you fill this little tracker out and you post on social media. And if we didn't get on that call, if she didn't get on Instagram and share that she had missed that goal, and I didn't decide to partner because I needed that extra layer of, I need more skin in the game to stay here because this is hard for me. I would never be here. My husband wouldn't have lost 65 pounds. I work here for fun. I don't work here because I need a job. I work here because I enjoy a challenge. I enjoy the free treatments, and I enjoy what I do. The freedom to, my husband got fired last year, and the fact that we didn't have to panic and sell our home, like the fact that there's a positive conversation around health and wellness in our household that my kids will grow up in, all of that is because I decided to be a partner. And so if you have people who are inactive and have been inactive in your downline for 1.5 years, or you have customers who you have not had the conversation with, or you have not moved it past their limiting belief and taken the time to address them, you could be like, you're stopping them from a gift. If she didn't do the hard things, if we didn't have the conversation, if I didn't partner, none of that would happen. My husband's back to work now, and it happened without either of us having a mental breakdown. Okay. Like it was the long process of messiness. And we said a million times, we would never be getting through this if we weren't like for more than one reason, right? Not just the income, but the mindset and the community and the how you're like the 5 people you surround yourself most with. Well, when you be a partner, you're surrounding yourself, so be it virtually, with people who are also working on their mindset and their health and wellness and high performers and doing things proactively in their life. And so having that, even just surrounding, like you guys are showing up to this call, or if you watch a recording, you're immersing yourself in this community. I have yet to ask, is there anybody on, or I've yet to get a yes. Is there anybody on this call who can say that they have a journey without being a partner? Like if you were just a customer and not a part. Oh my gosh, am I cutting?
You're here. It cut out a little bit in your question at the end, but you're here now.
Hello?
I can hear.
Oh, okay.
Just repeat your
Okay.
question.
My question is, like, if you were just a customer, not that that's not a great gift or starting point, but if you were a customer, would you approach life the way you do? Would you think the way you do? Would you show up for your health and wellness the way you do? And would you feel that sense of community the way you do? Even if it's just through a call. I've never met anyone that's taken their time to listen to a call who their life hasn't been positively impacted by it. And though our tools are great, that's what started me, right? My first 2 months, it was just the tools, and our tools are necessary, and the world would be a different place if everyone used these tools. The partner opportunity is what's going to change people's lives. So if you want to help people, if you want to impact people, if you want people to stick around and actually change their life, if you want them to continue getting results they might get from their first super block or their second super block or their first program, you want them to press play on another program, you want them to stick around when their life gets hard, when an obstacle comes up that makes it easy to throw out your at-home fitness routine, you have to be offering them the partner opportunity. You have to be having the conversation. You have to be moving past their limiting beliefs, not by going, oh yeah, I understand, but by challenging their limiting beliefs in a respectful way. If you listen to Brendan Burchard's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about the influence model. And the influence model is 1, you're teaching people how to think, not what to think. So instead of saying, vote for this person or believe this, you're speaking in a way that might make their thinking go in a different direction. So when someone's saying like, oh, I don't know if I can afford it, blah, 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 right? When you're influencing someone, instead of being like, you can totally afford it, Starbucks is $6 a day, that's teaching them what to think, right? Teaching them how to think through the influence model. And that example would be something like, what's it worth to you to have energy? What's the alternative if you don't invest in your health? So you're not saying look at it as an investment, but you're saying invest in health. What if you're asking them questions that are literally going to change their brain pathways, like just to even be listening to you. The second part of the influence model is to challenge people and speak to the highest version of them. Basically, that's my Spark Notes on it. It's like when someone is saying, oh, I don't want to do this because I don't think I'll finish the program, or I know I won't stick to it. And they're believing their own limiting beliefs. A lot of times a response might be like, oh, I totally understand. But you've immediately matched their energy when you do that. And there's no place where they come out of that empowering, because they just got social connection over something disempowering. So they're not going to be conditioned to come out of that conversation and empower themselves, because they've already got what they wanted by you agreeing with them and leveling with them. And so when speaking to the highest version of someone, an example might be like kind of what I say when someone's like, oh, I just know I won't stick to it. instead of being like, oh, I get it, or like, whatever, because you still want to validate them and, see them, they're struggling, but just saying, when you commit to yourself and you see this through and you let go of perfectionism, you are going to look back and feel so grateful for this version of you, for what you're going through right now, and how you continue to work through that and serve and do things to, create a better future for yourself. And then I say, I was in the same place and I have so much love in my heart for that version of me. That, then they're like, they don't have a choice, like, but to level up the empowerment, right? Like, you're speaking to the higher version of them. You're speaking as if you already know they're going to show up as that best self, instead of validating, or, you're still validating where they're at. You're understanding it's painful, but you're not letting them sit in it and get satisfaction out of the suffering, or purpose out of the chosen suffering. You're challenging them into a better frame of mind. And then the third part of that is to lead the way, which is what we do as partners, which is why we all show up, right? Which is why nobody said yes when I asked if you would be the same if you weren't a partner, is we get that part of the influence model down immediately when we shift our identity by becoming a partner. Now, if you're one toe in the water, my upline is Trina Grace, so she always says, are you a toe in or do you dive? If you're one toe in the water and you have not let it become part of your identity to be a partner, you're not going to make all those shifts. When you just decide that you are a partner and that is who you are, and there are so many other interesting things about you, and this is one of them, because it's a vehicle to take you wherever you want to go. And maybe your biggest dream isn't to be the top team in BODi or be a trillionaire, even though I feel like you're on Scotty's team, like you can totally hit the financial goals if you want. You got all the resources and proof right in front of you. Anyone in this business can. You guys have a great advantage of leadership and examples, but maybe that's not your goal. Whatever your goal in life is, being a partner and committing to the vital behaviors and what we do fully is going to serve you towards that goal. I promise, you can argue me on this, you will never win. You can tell me any goal you have, and I will tell you how ripping the Band-Aid, stop dipping your toes, and jumping into partnership with BODi is going to help you towards whatever your goal is, whether it has anything to do with BODi or not, because it makes you a better person. Contribution is a need. It's a human need. It fulfills a level of contribution, and it helps you show up, serve your mind and body, the one you have right now on earth, helps you serve your mind and body in a way that's going to help you show up, have confidence for whatever happens. When my husband, who was the breadwinner, got fired, and we could go, we got this. And he could say, I already know that I shouldn't have gotten fired. I have no idea why this happened. It'll all make sense one day. And, like, I know that I'll be able to prove easily that I didn't do anything wrong. So, like, to have the faith and the ease and the confidence going through something that would have broke us is only from BODi partnership. So argue me about it. I promise. Like, come into my inbox and be like, this is my life goal. I don't think coaching has anything, or partnering has anything to do with it. So no matter what my goal was at any time, going all in on partnering there was no plan B. It was plan A. Yes, I have a job. Yes, I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I serve in my church. I do a lot of other things that I go all in on. I am at work in my car right now, and I haven't thought about work for 1 second, because I'm all here right now. And when I close my computer, I go to work and I'm all in my job, doing what I'm supposed to be doing at work. And when I get off and it's time with my family, I'm all there, and people don't expect me to be texting them back or writing them back, but I do make the time outside of it to do those things and to to build an elite team and to help several people lose 50, 100 pounds, because it really freaking matters, and to help people make the decision to be a partner, because I know that's the gift. I know that I'm not giving them the vehicle to change their life with the tools. Yeah, they can change their life with the tools. Absolutely. But they're not going to change their life with the tools. They're going to change their life like that kind of change your life with the partner opportunity. And I want to just share that when I got asked to be a cast member, is anyone doing the super block? Yeah. Yay. Okay. So it's me and then one other person, Dustin, who's from the original program, and he was in Let's Get Up and he was in Sweat and Sculpt. It's just me and him and Jericho. So it's very intimate, amazing experience. I still can't believe it even happened. When I met Jericho, it was at Leadership. And it was my first event ever, because when I started in January, I bought tickets for a super weekend, and then the super weekend got canceled and COVID hit. And so I built my entire business without ever having a live event. And I went to Leadership, and it was all the trainers, because it's the first one, right? It's like very special Leadership since the last one had gotten canceled. And Gib, who is in charge of all the super trainers, is like, who do you want to meet? Right. Blah, blah, blah. Like, and they're like, you want to meet the new trainer? You want to meet Autumn? And I'm like, no, I want to meet Jericho. Like, I literally was like, nope, I just want to meet Jericho. They're all great. I love them all. But Jericho helped me face losing my best friend after a year and a half of just avoiding it and coping. Like, she pulled me through those 100 days, and it changed my life. And where I love all the other traders, like, I was like, I want to meet Jericho. And she was late because that's Jericho. And she walked out into like the area where the little buffet or the food and hors d'oeuvres were or whatever. And I Ashley McClellan grabbed my phone to video. I like charged at her, and I was like a face full of tears by the time I got to her. And I didn't even expect to get that emotional, but I could really feel like I was already emotional, because being at that event was like, man, like, this has been my saving grace the last year and a half at that point. And like being in person and meeting corporate and seeing other partners that I admire so much, like, and just the camaraderie, it felt so good. And then seeing her and just being like, you're a real person, like, you pulled me through so much on the screen. I just like got so emotional. I gave her a hug, and she didn't recognize me at first. And then like 20 seconds in, she was like, oh my gosh, Stephanie, because we had connected on Instagram for a while. And that was when I was in the Beachbody Challenge. And I would have never gotten to have that intimate moment. We got to sit and talk for 15 minutes before her handler was like, hey, you got to go talk to other people. There's no option for that kind of like intimate interaction when you are at Summit, unless you're at the elite party. And I believe that elite, rank, income, all of it serves a lot of purposes. You won't ever hear me say that those things aren't important. They don't define your worth in any way, but they're all very important, and they're all very tangible ways of challenging yourself to be better when you would otherwise talk yourself out of the work it takes. But the value of giving people the gift of partnering, giving people the gift of the influence model I spoke about, getting them out of their mindset, especially if it's SHIT like mine was. Because when I first got my mindset towards partnering, like, I was like, I probably said I was never going to be one of those girls. I don't know. I don't remember saying it, but I probably said it like that. Like, I was very interested in it, but I never thought I could do it, would want to do it. And actually, when I first started, I remember mathing out who in my family I could sign up so I could hit Success Club for 3 months, and then I'd have to think of a reason to quit. No joke, that was my mindset when I started. I was like already trying to think of how I could get out of this, because if I couldn't hit Success Club, I didn't want to do it. I could do an entire call on what I just said and all the mindset tweaks that I needed. But so I had them all. I had the limiting beliefs, I had the awful mindset, but I never let those things take the full control. I worked through them. By the time I got to the end of that 3 months, I was diamond, and I was never going to quit being a BODi partner. Like, there was just no way. But it's not like I just always felt that way. It's like I just didn't give those limiting beliefs the front seat. Because think about it, if I operated from the place of, oh, I got to put off my, my aunt until next month so I can hit Success Club, like if I operated from that place instead of just turning the sound down and moving on to something else, then I wouldn't have had empowering conversations where I was calling people to a higher version of them. I wouldn't have been showing up with passion and really putting the energy out there that's going to attract people. So if you're not giving people that gift, I got a little sidetracked. I do that. I'm watching the clock though. If you're not giving people that gift of like, wherever their mindset is, you're willing to have a conversation of like, I'm not entertaining this mindset. I'm talking to this mindset of you, and we're going there. Just get them in. You don't have to fix their mindset. They do. No one fixed my mindset. I just had enough excitement going on in my team, and my coach was excited enough that my mindset was just not in control. I was working on it. I was working on improving it, right? So by mindset, I mean my negative mindset was not in control. The excitement of where I was going, the challenge, and the identifying and shifting the mindset was in control. It was still there, but you don't get that when you're a customer. You're giving people the gift of having that conversation and letting them change their life in a more diverse way when you open the door to partnering and you speak to the higher version of them. And that all of that, like, to get to be elite, as I'm sure you know, recruiting is a requirement. So whatever kind of way that your brain works, whether you are service oriented, well then if you care about helping people and that is your why, then you better offer them partnering, and you better take the time to work through your own limiting beliefs so that you can show up in that conversation in a way that forces them to rise up. And if you want to help people, well, then you're going to take the time to make sure that you are having that conversation, to think more about what you're saying, to challenge them instead of backing off when they have a poor mindset. Oftentimes, you can tell when someone has an excuse. They don't want to think that any more than you want them to think that. They need the guidance and the leadership to get them out of it. Otherwise, they're just not going to write you back. Like, if they've gotten to that point, then they want change. And they might not even consciously know that, but they do. Nobody wants to be stuck. Nobody wants to live a life where someone asks them if they want to work out and they have to have an excuse. I always say, what are you going to do about it? And if it's someone who's hurting, I will say it in a little bit of a nicer way. But that's the gift. So if that's your service, if service is your big why in this business, there you go. Recruit. If income is your big why in this business, your income is built on volume. My husband's income, when he doesn't even work the business because he was part of my original Emerald, can pay our mortgage when he's not even doing, because he has months in and out of the business, like where he'll like be on fire for a program or whatever, and then he serves his people and doesn't enroll. I have my thoughts about that, but I leave the mentorship with my husband up to Scotty's YouTube channels, just because, marriage, gotta keep marriage first. And like, my paycheck is 90% volume bonus, 10% commissions. And having that income for your family, having that income so that I love more than anything. I love giving gifts. I love serving. And when there was a time where money was more tight and I would feel guilty because I wasn't tithing 10% of our income, which again is a mindset thing, I would go out of my way to try to like serve all these places, right? To give my time. And I still give my time, but being able to just not even just like give $10, but to just like pay for a new machine. Not because we're stupid with our money or because we're, billionaires or millionaire. Well, like, but because because I have that residual income and I don't have to think, did I sell enough challenge packs this week to cover that? That's recruiting. If you have ever thought about being a cast member, basically I networked with Jericho at like the next 3 times that I was at an elite event. And that is how we built a friendship enough that we exchanged phone numbers. And so if you have a big vision like that, like if you're like, I don't even care about income, I don't really care about serving people, you might be in the wrong place. But if the main focus is like, what can I get, or or like how far can I take this? How fun can I have? Right? Like if that's where you're going, like what opportunities, what doors can I open? If I didn't build my business to elite and recruit and build a team, I would never have texted Jericho that random day because I wouldn't even have her phone number and she wouldn't even probably know that much who I am, right? And she happened to respond with, Val just told me she can't cast. I wish you lived in LA. I need a modifier. Like I literally texted her within hours. Randomly, we don't text a lot. So it's like my second time ever texting her. But we wouldn't have had that relationship where she would respond like that. And I wouldn't have her phone number if I didn't build my business and recruit and help other people have success. And I was always my first, and still, if you ask me what drives me the most, I'm driven by all those things, money, rank, all of it. But what drives me the most is other people coming in and having the same internal transformation that I have. Because that, like, if the world, if everybody had more confidence, self-love, and ease with themselves, the world would be such a better place. And so getting yourself in those positions, the day I texted Jericho, telling you this, and then we'll hop right off. I know you have to go. The day I texted Jericho, it was a month after my husband actually won arbitration, and then his employer was like, no, they threw a fit, which ended up working out really well in our favor because they had to pay out a lot of money for that. But well, they haven't paid it yet, but side tangent. I experienced for the first time at the beginning of this year a little bit of burnout and overwhelm, which, like I said earlier in the call, that burnout and overwhelm was my choice. It was my mismanagement of my thoughts and a lot of heavy life things, and I always leaned in. I never quit coaching, but I had to really dive in and do the work to keep showing up and see how leaning in looked and pull myself out of that and not rely on anyone else or any external thing to give me some motivation for it. And I remember walking to my office one day and going, I know that if I do this work for me, on me right now, to dive in and re-fall in love with coaching, and like, if I do this and I don't give away my power to anyone else by relying on them to help me through this hard time I'm experiencing right now, I know that God, the universe, whatever you believe, insert for me, I know that God will send me a wink. And I did. That next month was like pulling myself through the dirt, recommitting like 100% to 2B mindset, like actually doing the tracking and the scale, which I lost my weight. I'm in maintenance. I don't get on the scale every day, but I like diving right back into what am I asking people to do? Because what if I sign someone up who's in the mindset like I am right now, which is still 10 times better than it was when I started, but it feels awful. I had a friend die in a fire the same week. So it was just like I was not taking care of myself. And I just dove in, like relit that fire that was in me when I started by myself. And because of that, I was like, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, how fun would it be if there was another morning meltdown, another, you know, like, because I had recommitted to bar and morning meltdown. I did hybrid, really like dove back into like what lit me up. I felt passionate and fiery once. How do I feel it again? I'm always fiery and passionate, but I wanted that big flame. And so I made a jot form to get Jericho to have the next program, because I remember her saying that, you know, like coaches need to use their voices. That has a big part in deciding who gets the programs. So I made the jot form. I texted her and told her, hey, you want to check this out? And that's when she responded with that. So if I wasn't pulling myself through that dirt at the beginning of the year, and if I didn't build my team for a million other reasons than getting a cast member, I would have never had that full circle moment. And I don't get to share about that because I know we have to go, but.
Awesome. Stephanie, that is incredible. And I loved listening to you today. Like I can just feel your energy and your excitement for what we do. And we do have to go. I wish we could go longer. But I am so grateful for everything that you shared with us today. And it was just even a reminder for me of like the gift that this is for people. You are making me think back to the person that I was prior to ever doing my first P90X workout, to becoming a partner. And it truly is a gift that we have to give people, so that we always remember that and boldly share that with other people. So thank you for being here. And I'm excited to be on your team call on Thursday. And then for our team, remember, we have that sneak peek on Thursday night, partner opportunity sneak peek. So make sure that you're inviting and following up, and we'll see you guys on Thursday. See you guys later.